Hi, this is Chatboxing. I'm Sean, and I'm going to talk today about Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, and Dillian Whyte. Made a video a couple of days ago with Black Fight Fan TV. We had a good conversation. He put it on his channel. If you haven't seen that already, go and check it out. It was a good debate. He made some good points. I obviously made a load of good points, as always. So yeah, it was good. It's worth listening to if you haven't already listened to it. We talked about all kinds of different things, but one of them was this topic, like Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. Shout out to Dream Chasing Boxing. We've talked about this quite a lot. We've gone back and forth quite a lot about this topic. Me and him actually made a video about this. We were going to put it on my channel, but I actually messed up the recording of it and didn't end up being able to do it, which is unfortunate because that was a good debate too. He made some very good points, to be fair, and yeah, made quite a good case for Wilder to a certain extent from one point of view. I mean, obviously there are different ways you can look at it, but yeah, that was unfortunate. Shout out to him. Shout out to Sporting Icons as well. We talked about this I think a few days ago, I believe. You know, he makes quite a few videos about Deontay Wilder. He's quite critical of him. And why shouldn't he be, to be honest? You know, looking at the Deontay Wilder's career, quite entertaining, his videos. Now, I can't speak for him, but I'm pretty sure that most of it's just all a bit of good fun, really. There's no malice involved. But yeah, they're good, entertaining videos as well. So yeah, shout out to Sporting Icons as well. Shout out to all them three before we get started. Right, yeah, a couple of things maybe I want to make this video. Saw the interview yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before with Deontay Wilder on the Boxing Voice. Few comments in the comment section for the video me and Black Fight Fan did, and just a general, you know, I've been talking about this for quite a long time, so I think people have got the wrong idea about me, about my opinion of Deontay Wilder, just because, you know, the way the boxing landscape has been and the way the sort of debate has been going. I've, you know, found myself in the opposing corner quite a bit, so to speak. But yeah, I don't. I actually, believe it or not, quite like Deontay Wilder, and I'd like to see him do well. But you know, I have to give my honest opinion about him as well. Do you know what I mean? As much as I think he's a top bloke, and I want to see him do well, you know, there are a lot of things that he does or doesn't do that deserve criticism. So yeah, let's get started. Let's start off with the Dillian Whyte situation, and then we'll move on to the situation with Anthony Joshua. Okay. First of all, this situation, as I said in the other video with Black Fight Fan TV, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know if Deontay Wilder has got better plans. So maybe he has. Maybe he has got something with Joseph Parker. Maybe the Stavern situation is a bit deeper into negotiations than we realise. Maybe he's planning to fight with Luis Ortiz. I mean, who knows? But I'm only going on what he says, really. So he hasn't mentioned anything about the mandatory situation. He's talking about the Dillian Whyte fight from a financial perspective. He's saying, give me $7 million and I'll do it. He's saying it's not enough money. He's saying Dillian Whyte is basically nothing and he's nobody. He's not going to get any credit for it. I want to talk about that in a bit as well. But at the same time, he wants like $7 million to do it. Now, he's trying to say that Charles Martin got paid like whatever it was, 8 million or 5 million pounds, I don't know what it was, to fight Anthony Joshua. Now, I think quite a few people have pointed out that Anthony Joshua is arguably the biggest cash cow in world boxing, him and Canelo. So Dillian Whyte isn't. I mean, he's probably, right now, he's probably like the number 3 most popular heavyweight in London. Do you know what I mean? So a bit of perspective there. Okay, in terms of this sort of credit, he's not going to get any credit for fighting Dillian Whyte. Okay, I suppose it does depend. I talked about this with Dream Chasing Boxing. He's pretty adamant that he won't get any credit for fighting people like Dillian Whyte. Basically, anyone he fights. Now, it depends who you talk to, doesn't it? Now, there are a lot of people out there who I don't really understand why they watch boxing or why they're into sports or anything really, because it seems all they want to do is criticise, not give people credit, make excuses, and just want to see people fail. Now, there are a lot of people like that, I accept that, but me personally, I'm just not really interested in those kind of characters. I just ignore them. Now, all the people I've got people I talk to from the UK, from America, from Australia, all over the world really. Like, I don't have many subscribers, but I've got some pretty cool ones, and I talk to them. People who make other videos as well, and all the people that I talk to and bother, spending my time talking boxing with, people are decent people. Anyone who's just going to be, looking to be, excessively negative, then I just don't bother about these people. So proper boxing fans would give him credit for fighting Dillian Whyte. Now this argument always comes up about Gerald Washington and the people like that. Deontay Wilder said, "Oh well, if I do this, people are gonna not give him any credit for it." Like again, see, this is what I have a problem with. The way he says that, it's the implication is that there's a problem with everyone else and not with him. Now I've said about these group of people who just don't want to see people succeed. But generally speaking, I'm not like that. And I'm not going to give you credit for 5 voluntary defences against the people you fought. I mean, I'll give credit to Deontay Wilder for knocking loads of people out. Fair play, give him credit for that. But I'm not going to give you credit based on the opponents. So if you're saying that, as if this is just, whatever I do, people don't give me credit. Well, yeah, we don't feel that you deserve any credit for what you've done. No, it's not a problem with other people that you're sort of, there's nothing I can do, now I can sort of beat up some nobody that we've never heard of and that they don't give me any credit. Well, no, of course we don't. We want to see something more from you. So the reason I want to see him fight someone like Dillian Whyte, and I use the name Jarrell Miller quite a lot as well. People always say, what's the difference between Jarrell Miller and Gerald Washington? Well, the big difference to me is that Jarrell Miller, he's kind of, to me, I don't know him that well, he seems like a similar kind of character to Dillian Whyte. He's quite a fiery kind of character. Now, he is not going to be intimidated by Deontay Wilder. He's a bit of a lad, do you know what I mean? A bit of a geezer, like Dillian Whyte. He's going to basically put it on you. And that's the kind of fighter I want to see Deontay Wilder fight. He's not going to fight an elite fighter. I want to see him at least fight someone who's got a pair of bollocks, who's an actual fighter, and not someone who's basically a cruiserweight, someone who's big and who's going to come to fight. Dillian Whyte, Jarrell Miller, these kind of characters, they're going to get in his face and just put it on him straight away, all the way through. That's what I want to see. That's the distinction for me between someone like that and someone like Gerald Washington. So some people may have called for him to fight Gerald Washington. I didn't. I don't think it's a particularly bad opponent. I think it's okay, but at this stage in his career, it's not impressive, and it's not going to be like, I even fight Gerard Washington for my 37th fight, and people don't give me credit. Do you know what I mean? So the implication, we're just not on the same wavelength there. I mean, he's expecting credit for things that most of us don't think he deserves credit for. So Dillian Whyte is no Gerald Washington. He said he gave him the fight instead of Luis Ortiz. Well, he made that. We talked about this, for me, an excuse about the Luis Ortiz and the drugs. That was an excuse, as far as I'm concerned. He didn't want to fight Luis Ortiz. He had an opportunity to do it. He had an opportunity to prove himself as a champion. Didn't want to do it. It is what it is. He said he wanted to fight Gerald Washington because he sort of approached him correctly, and he was polite and nice and all this, that and the other. I mean, that's all well and good. I mean, I'm quite a nice, respectful person myself, but we're talking about boxing. You don't say, I don't want to fight this bloke because he's sort of disrespectful to me, or he's like sort of trash talking me. What's going on? I don't understand. Surely it should be the other way around, shouldn't it? So he's trying to tell us that Gerald Washington got this fight because he was basically come up to him and he's respectful and, hey champ, and I'd love an opportunity and all this. So no disrespect to Gerald Washington. I mean, he's a good athlete and he's got some boxing skills, but he's not that kind of character. Someone like Dillian Whyte or Jarrell Miller. At least I think Jarrell Miller. I haven't really seen him against, but that's the impression that I get. I think I'm a pretty good judge of character. And I think Jarrell Miller is quite fiery, just quite hard, and I'd like to see that. People have got their own opinions, haven't they? But for me personally, I would give him credit for that, just from the point of view of having a proper fight. Do you know what I mean? Because if someone's got fight in them, and they're not going to want to back down, they're going to take it to you. I respect that. That's what I want to see. That's what I give credit for, rather than someone who's just physically quite big and tall and who can, out jab you for a couple of rounds, but then basically just melt as soon as he gets hit hard. So that's what I think about that. Also, the fact that this fight would be a big fight in the UK. Do you know what I mean? You can say what you want about, well, he wants to fight Anthony Joshua. That's the person he wants to fight in the UK. But he's not on the table right now. He's contractually obliged to fight against Vladimir Klitschko. After that, you then have at least one, well, possibly, you've got Pulev, the IBF. We know what they're like, man. So you challenge it. Luis Ortiz threatening legal action. So he's at least one fight he's tied up, possibly two, possibly even three. Hopefully not. You'd hope at some point you need to get some unification in there. So right now, that's not an option. So this is the problem with a lot of Deontay Wilder supporters, where they just seem to have this idea that, oh, well, he basically fight this bloke or no one. So I want to fight Anthony Joshua. He's fighting against Klitschko, so I'm not going to take on like a tough contender because I want to fight this bloke. That's the impression I get. That's what I think a lot of people think, definitely in the UK. And this is obviously from a UK perspective, but that's where he's ultimately going, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest. He's got his sights set on Anthony Joshua. So yeah, there's the Joseph Parker fight, if it can be made, fair play. But ultimately, the big prize is Anthony Joshua. Or if Tyson Fury can come back, then these two are like the top guns in the division, aren't they? Aside from Wilder possibly could get into that bracket maybe. But if you're Wilder, that's the direction that you're heading in. So Dillian Whyte is one of the best in the UK. I mean, definitely one of the best. He's top 5, I think, in the WBC. So he's ranked pretty highly. It's a credible opponent. It's going to be good money. And if it's that easy, why doesn't he just come over and do it? If there isn't a better alternative on the table, that's what I'm always saying. If you can get the Joseph Parker fight, which, to be honest, doesn't look that likely at the moment. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but if you can't get that, and the situation with Bermane Stiverne, because listening to him on the Boxing Voice, seems like he's sort of talking about it as if almost sort of trying to talk Stiverne out of it. There's no date set as far as I'm aware, no venue, nothing concrete. So surely he could do this in the meantime and then do it later on. I don't really understand. Now the reason I'm saying that is because he hasn't said anything about it himself. I've heard nothing from Wilder saying, oh, I can't do this because of the Stiverne fight. He's talking specifically about money and saying he would do it for the right money. So I've got to take him at his word and believe that that's why he doesn't want to do it. So the reason why I don't think he wants to fight Dillian Whyte is because I don't think that he wants these kind of challenges, to be honest with you. I believe that he wants to fight Anthony Joshua. Not saying he doesn't want to take on any challenges, but he doesn't want to take like a low reward, high risk fight, and I think his career proves that. So in the comment section of the video Black Fight Fan TV we made, someone called DFW Boxing is back. I've talked to him before. Definitely knows his stuff. Very knowledgeable man. If I'm not mistaken, I think he actually works with Errol Spence's team. Always leaves like quite long, quite informative comments. So yeah, a lot of respect for him. Definitely knows his stuff. So he made a couple of points that I wanted to talk about. He was saying that the people in the UK think that he's scared of Dillian Whyte. He's scared of people. You know what I mean? As if we're like at school and it's like lunchtime and he doesn't want to go out to the playground because Dillian Whyte's going to bash him up. Do you know what I mean? No, we don't think that. We just think that he doesn't want to take on tough challenges if he doesn't have to. He wants to basically fight against overmatched opponents, beat up people who can't really fight back, and then if he can really go for like the top spot, then he'll take that opportunity. But he's not going to take risks along the way. That's what it looks like, and I don't really see how you can have a go at us for thinking that, because if you look at the evidence, that's what it suggests. Do you know what I mean? So that's one thing. Another thing, that as if like, people in the UK, we don't want to see Anthony Joshua fight against Deontay Wilder. I mean, no idea where this has come from. People just saying it now, and it's kind of, people. I suppose it's become a bit of a kind of consensus reality on YouTube. Everybody's saying it, and it suddenly picks up a bit of steam, and now suddenly it becomes a credible point in some way. Anthony Joshua's got to fight Vladimir Klitschko next. That's contractually obliged. Now, unless Vladimir Klitschko for some reason decides he doesn't want to do it, unlikely. That's probably going to happen. So that's for now. He's then got the situation with the two mandatories. I said, not sure what's going to go on, but obviously he's not going to fight Deontay Wilder next, is he? Instead of the Vladimir Klitschko one. And then I suppose the difference is between us fans in the UK of Joshua and fans in America is that we've got faith in Anthony Joshua, faith to have good fights and fight against the top people in the division. So after Klitschko, in his 20th fight, okay, he's going to fight probably someone like Luis Ortiz, even Pulev, not a bad fight, Deontay Wilder, Joseph Parker, Tyson Fury hopefully coming back. These fights, we think they're going to happen, and they're going to happen quite soon. So we're not like you thinking, Anthony Joshua, he's nearly 40 fights in, he's a bit of a laughing stock in world boxing, and we really want him to get some credibility. So we're really trying to force this fight right now. Even though the opponent's basically tied up with other opponents. So that's the thing. That's what I think. In terms of the resistance to this idea that, this just got to happen now. That's basically what it is. So I think I don't remember anyone. Obviously, I don't think anyone knows who Deontay Wilder's opponent was at this stage in his career. Probably the champion of Alabama State or something. I don't know, but no one that anyone had ever heard of. But there was certainly no big push, that what I can remember, from American fans for Deontay Wilder to ever do anything at like a fast pace. He was going into his third title defense, and people were still making excuses for him. Still, just this. He's done. It's his injury. It's this person's fault. It's this person's pulled out, and he had a bit of bad luck. I know the Povetkin situation. I know injuries do happen, and it's not completely one-dimensional, but still. You know what I mean? Now you've got Anthony Joshua, who has just fought Vladimir Klitschko in front of 90,000 people. Do you think that would have been 90,000 people if it had been Deontay Wilder? I'm telling you, it wouldn't have been. Vladimir Klitschko is a huge name in the UK. Fought against David Haye, who at one point was the biggest star in British boxing. He's been the number one in the world for years, fighting in front of huge crowds. Fought against Tyson Fury in the fight before that. He's massive in the UK. Do you know what I mean? His brother fought against Lennox Lewis, Herbie Hyde. Do you know what I mean? So we know very well who they are. So that was what he did then. Deontay Wilder. Now this is another point. I don't want to sound like a businessman or sound like this is something that I want to do or this is like my reasoning for it. But it is what it is. If you're Eddie Hearn, who's making the fight, he's obviously looking at Deontay Wilder as potentially someone who could make a very big fight for Anthony Joshua at Wembley. And as I explained on the video that we made with Black Fight Fan TV, to be honest with you, the reason why it would be such a big fight if you could raise his profile, because he's American. He's got that American lineage. He comes from the same country and as Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Rocky Marciano, Larry Holmes, do you know what I mean? Joe Louis, Jack Dempsey, etc., etc. You think of the great American heavyweight champions, and that name still carries a lot of weight in the UK, particularly to casual fans. Do you know what I mean? If you say, this is like some top champion in America, people are interested. So it's like, oh yeah, who's it? So if he does come over and fights against Dillian Whyte, then everyone will know about it. And the reason why people know about it is because it will be well promoted by Eddie Hearn and by Sky Sports. It's not like Deontay Wilder could just come to the UK independently and just start doing stuff, because he wouldn't have any promotion and he wouldn't be able to generate that kind of interest. But if he came over with the help of Eddie Hearn, they worked together just for that one fight, then everyone would know who he was. And if Dillian Whyte's so easy, like he says, then he could just come over, make that fight, win that fight, He's already like quite popular with like hardcore boxing fans. He's quite popular. People like Deontay Wilder. This is do you know what I mean? It's a misconception. People, obviously there's a rivalry in boxing. People are quite critical, but generally speaking, he's a very likable bloke, Wilder, and he's got a lot of fans in the UK. So if he came over and made that fight, he could really, set up a big fight with Anthony Joshua next. So I really, for the life of me, don't understand why, if it's as easy as he says it is, he doesn't do that as a build up to the big fight with Anthony Joshua, because that fight is not on the table right now, and it's got nothing to do with Anthony Joshua being protected by Deontay Wilder. In terms of Joseph Parker, not sure what's going on. My impression is that he doesn't seem very keen right now on fighting Deontay Wilder. To be honest with you, I don't blame him. I think Deontay Wilder would definitely beat Joseph Parker. I think Joseph Parker's he's a good fighter. But he's quite sort of young in the game. He's only had 20 fights. He's quite small. He's got a lot of things to work on. And I think Deontay Wilder would be too much for him right now. So if he just got kind of pressured into like his first defence basically would be against Deontay Wilder, I think from his management team that would be a mistake. And I think that's basically the way boxing is at the moment, and surely Deontay Wilder fans can understand that as much as anyone else. But yeah, I've been talking for quite a long time. I'm not sure if I've said all the things I wanted to say. A bit of a stream of consciousness, really. So yeah, let me know what you think about it, and thank you very much for watching.